This is what you're looking for, Cole.
Okay, I'm sorry, this is a car?
No, this one here. That's a car.
How do you drive this thing?
Here we go.
It's a 66 E-Type.
Oh, I love it. How about that? So, being a 66 E-Type, original or is this a repro?
Nope, it's all original. It has a 6-cylinder engine, 4.2 liter, and it's been modified to race, but it's based on a stock car.
All right, we just ran into an original 66 Jaguar E Type, spec'd out for racing, with the original 6-cylinder in it.
It doesn't have the original engine, but it is like what would have come in it.
Yeah, period, correct.
Yeah.
It's nice to meet you.
That's great. Nice to meet you.
This is your car, apparently.
Yeah.
Can you tell me more about it?
I've actually had it since 1983, and it was off the road for a while being restored, and so I raced it in just vintage racing, and it's real competitive, and it's really fast and fun.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yep. It's out there with the Corvettes and Cobras and Shelby Mustangs. It's in the ground pounder group, which is a fast group.
It's the fast group?
Sure.
Do you travel far to come to this?
From Cleveland. And the other thing is, this is such a fantastic facility. It's unbelievable. And you know, you and your son could actually go on the go-kart track. They have a go-kart track here, and for not much money, go around in the go-kart. Also take advantage.
We will, thank you. Can we take a look inside the car? You've got it jacked up for a tire replacement. All right, this one's completely, so it's right-hand drive, track ready. I love it that it's right-hand. Because as we know, most of the track cars actually are right-hand drive.
A lot of them are.
To take the right-hand turn around the track.
Exactly.
And this is what an original 66 race E-Type looks like. Oh my goodness. Fuel cell?
Nope, actually, behind
Radiator?
here is the oil tank for the engine.
Oh, so it's a dry
dry
sump.
sump, correct.
All right, so that's
the fuel
dry
cell's
sump.
in the back under that panel.
That would make more sense.
Yeah.
Alcantara dashboard. Wow, this is jewelry. This is what this is. I mean, how's the frame held up for you all these years?
Good. This is the original frames that came on the car, and they're actually thin chromoly, and that's how Jaguar designed the car for 1961.
Try to get that weight down.
Right.
Chromoly. Remember bicycles being chromoly
Oh, right. Before aluminum, right?
before aluminum. Wow, this is incredible. So how about the rear spindles and the suspension setup in the back?
This is
How easy is that to fix?
Well, you have to drop the unit to service it, but this is an original rear suspension that has inboard vented disc brakes.
So that's an amazing thing about Jaguar and their inboard brakes.
Right.
That design should have proliferated through all cars.
But it's harder to service, so it's always a catch-22.
Sure thing.
Yeah.
But it's such a better idea.
Yeah.
The weight distribution on that. So how often, because you race it, how often do you have to change out discs?
Not very often. Not very often. The discs are pretty heavy duty. They last for a while. Really did a couple of years out of
Amazing. How many races a year do you get to?
Not too many. I usually do test days. You know, it's a cost thing. So what I do is I go and I race a little here and a little there, and it's a, you know, it's just a hobby. It's a lot of money to go racing like these. So.
Sure is, but what a hobby that we hope to get to someday, right?
Yeah.
You can see yourself in this car?
Definitely.
So what you're looking at, you may remember, but this is the best design of a car ever, including better than the C2 Corvette, which Pete Brock is around here somewhere. Hopefully you can run into him. Yeah, apparently he is because of the convention for the Cobras.
Sure.
But that said, even Ferrari, Enzo, wanted to have designed this car. He said it's the most beautiful car he's ever seen.
It was really ahead of its time.
And you got one.
Yeah, and they drive, by today's standards, they still drive like a nice car, where a lot of the older classic cars are more of a handful. These cars actually drive on.
Are you power anything on this? Power steering?
No.
Boosted brakes apparently?
No.
Not even boosted brakes.
The only power is the motor.
I love it. That's how, visceral. That's how it should be. We're gonna take some extra photos around the car, and then we'll end that with that.
Or maybe it's a 2023 golf cart.
Cool. He's letting you sit inside.
For the Camaros.
May I?
It's this side.
Well, you're getting the driver's seat. Cool, you're getting the driver's seat.
Oh boy.
I expected to be in the passenger. Oh, there's no seat in the passenger seat. Should have realized that. None of these cars have passenger
It's a little
seats.
warm. I hope you'll be okay.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
All right, so look how low profile this is. This is great. That's a race day patch. So once again, this is an original 66. You can tell by the frame. Dry sump, filter, almost Nakaducks in the front. Big favorite of ours is the lensed covered headlights. Cool, what do you think?
I like
You're
this.
sitting in a 1966 real, not repro, race car. I've never done that.
Where are the turn signals?
No turn signals in this car. It is not roadworthy. You cannot drive this on a street. You can only drive it on a track. What do you think? You fit in it great.
This will be my car. I think my feet is stronger, but
You're almost there. So if you were to race a car, this is what it would feel like to be inside. Do you see how he took off the steering wheel? You have to take it off and on. That's Momo. That's a very famous steering wheel. Take it on and off to get in and out of the car. Check it out.
so you have to take it off to get out of the car.
This is what it looks like inside. Okay, this is my first getting into a E-Type Jag race car. Oh yeah.
Don't touch the fire button. Dad, I think I found the James Bond's fire.
Yeah, all these cars look like James Bond cars to him because they've got all the switches, and which is a great. Don't ever lose that thought. All right, this is the Echo inside of a real 60s Jag race car. And the look and feel. He does a lot of recording of his own racing, which is great. Do you ever post any of your racing?
No, I haven't had very much video.
You want help?
Well,
We'll do it for
I have
free.
My girlfriend's here. I'm going to see if she can turn it on.
It's not that hard.
No,
You can get, yeah.
other than getting in and it's hot. You know, reaching in. Push the button. It's hot.
It is hot. Well played.
But when you move along, the air flows through this car.
Yeah.
And you're not hot at all. You don't even think about the heat. So
I want to experience that someday. You and me. So is this sequential?
no, it's not. The car has some wheel chocks. If you want to push the clutch in, you can pull it back into neutral. It has a Super T10 racing transmission.
T10. Okay.
And we're allowed to run that by rules. And it has a triple disc small racing clutch, and I use the clutch. Some people are out there banging gears, but I don't do that.
By RPM, yeah. So your transmission will last a lot longer
Yep.
because of that. How many speeds?
It's four.
It's a four.
It's only 3 gears on the track.
Okay.
And some people have 4 gears on the track, but this thing actually, the engine is really flexible, and it doesn't have a lot of traction for second gear. So a lot of times I find that I go faster if I leave it in third, even though it's a little down on RPM. It still pulls fine. It has plenty of torque, so I go through the corner faster.
That's a lesson from a true race car driver. Invaluable. Thank you.
Yeah. Turn that the power switch on. The other one. Get a little bit of gas.
Does it rev to 9,000?
No, it can go 7,400.
Thank you. So
And
7,400.
I usually run it to 7,000, sometimes less. It depends, because when you're out there in the heat of the moment, running every last bit of RPM really doesn't usually make you faster. There's a lot going on, and a lot of times short shifting and being hard on the throttle and steering makes it faster. But when I'm on the straightaway, I try to get by somebody, I can run 7,400.
Imagine what that sounds like. So I don't know when I gave a bad answer, but you have an orange and a red indicator left and right.
Yeah,
What actually are those?
The red one is low oil
Okay.
pressure, and the yellow one, which is not hooked up, is for high coolant temperature. And then this right here is a shift light, and
Indicator.
yeah, shift indicator.
No kidding.
That's what that's for.
Wow.
What's this thing?
That's a kill switch. The car actually has 2 kill switches. This one is for the tech people, that they could shut it off if there was an emergency, and the one inside is for the driver to turn it on and off. They both turn the car off.
Okay, we're gonna try to get out of this now. Here. Turn around.
The cylinder head actually is a little bit interesting. Jaguar in the 70s actually made 6-cylinder engines for tanks, and they had a Scorpion tank, and they had a spec an engine out to run the tank. And what they did was the engineers actually did upgrade to all the parts, because the tanks ran wide open throttle the whole time, and they recast special cylinder heads for the tanks to produce less heat into the coolant. And this is one of those heads, and it was brand new when I bought it, and then it's been converted to twin ignition, where it has 2 spark plugs per cylinder. And I've noticed it, and it is not my imagination that this car does not run hot. And Jaguars usually get kind of hot out there, and then when you shut them off here, they heat soak, and this doesn't get hot at all. When I was out there this morning, it was at 170 degrees coolant, and that's a nice feature about it. But
170 at full throttle, 7,000 RPM.
the whole time I was out there, it was at 170
Wow.
degrees. Yeah, didn't get any hotter than that. Higher
So-
than that.
Curious, what thermostat do you run then?
There's no thermostat.
Oh.
So it's just based on the flow of the coolant. The coolant is restricted. You have to have a restrictor so it doesn't flow too quickly. But that's what it runs. It usually runs right at 170, sometimes 160. And it actually, it's cooler with this cylinder head than any other setup that I've ever had. It's kind of impressive.
Very impressive. Engineering's ridiculous. What is the degree of V on this? I mean, it's an inline, right?
It's an inline, so it's
Dumb
straight.
question. It's
Yeah,
an
it's
inline. I
straight.
knew that. So it's
And-
straight, and it's a cylinder head particular design that makes this happen.
Right, I think what they did was they increased the wall thickness of the casting around the exhaust ports, so it doesn't dissipate as much heat into the coolant, and maybe also around the combustion chamber.
Aluminum.
It's aluminum, the head's aluminum, the block is cast iron, and you're allowed to run special connecting rods and special crank and pistons and cams, stuff like that, and it has way over double the factory horsepower. And when you're out there running, against Cobras and Camaros and Corvettes, you have to have some proof under the hood for sure. And this does have that.
Secret sauce here.
Yeah.
Those Webers do a lot, right? These are the original Webers?
No, originally it came with 3 2-inch SU carburetors.
Those are small.
And this is, here again, we're allowed to do this update where we have 3 2-barrel side draft Webers.
Of course, the side drive. So you got tri-power.
Yeah, it's got an individual runner per cylinder, is how they would refer to that.
And when you tune this, the carburetor side, is it each, or do you have to do some sort of choreography between all at the same time? For instance, if you're tuning a 12-cylinder, you can go for each one of them by vacuum.
Right, but the tuning that's done on this, other than carburetor balance, there's a lot of different jets, and it's based on exhaust temperatures. You run the engine on the dyno, you look at the exhaust temperatures, the air-fuel ratio, and then you adjust accordingly. But also, there's a lot to part throttle and stuff like that, because you can have good full throttle mixture, but if the part throttle isn't there, it'll stumble or carry on or have flat spots at different parts of the track. This has a full range out on the track. I think at one corner I run it down to 3,000 RPM in third gear and it pulls right away. So
Pulling in 3,000.
yeah, that's pretty good.
That's pretty
real.
I mean, that's pretty amazing. Being it is a 3-speed on the track.
Right.
That's incredible. So this is what our channel is really all about. So we try to geek out on mechanics of it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, of course, fall in love with the the industrial design or the design language of cars. But aside from that, like, how do you fix it? If you have your own race car in your own house, can you take care of it? Is it feasible?
I do all the work myself.
There it is.
I do it all myself.
And we daily drive our 63.
Yeah, that's cool. That's nice.
We figure that's why not, right? Everyone's trying
Exactly.
to
In fact, I had a weird transmission failure where 2 of the roller bearings fell out of the input bearing, the main input bearing, and it caused unbelievable situation, and I had to change all the bearings in the transmission, and I had never had the transmission apart before, and the gears were rem coated or rem,
harden. Yep.
yeah, and so the gears were in perfect shape. Everything was good.
Oh,
it
good.
just needed all new bearings, went back together, and it's back to new again. And I thought I was in trouble because the last time I raced it, it was making moans and noises and misshifts, and I'm like, oh no, that could be expensive. But just bearings. I felt
Was it a
good about
howling
that.
noise?
It was like a moaning through the whole car, and apparently there's a brass slipper that if you have so much horsepower that the gears try to separate away from each other, the ray shaft and the main shaft, it actually rubs this part. Well, because the ball bearings literally fell out and the whole thing was moving around, there was so much brass and metal in the transmission that when I drained it, I couldn't believe my eyes, but I knew from the noises there was something going on, but it was unbelievable how much was in there.
Holy harmonics, and it degraded as you were.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And I knew I had to take it out. Fortunately, I could take it out in the car, and fortunately, I could take it apart and fix it, and it wasn't a big deal.
Did you use a lift or did you have it on jack stands?
No, it was on jack stands, and it came out through the interior actually. Yeah, it was actually.
Oh,
not
I
a
see
big
access,
deal.
right.
Yeah, it was not a big deal.
That is a great story, amazing racing story. You won't find that story ever again. We'll never hear it again. Thank you so much. Cole, I missed that question. That was a great question you asked him. How does he pull it in?
What was your question?
I just missed that he asked you that question. I didn't get it.
Oh, he asked where you hooked onto the car to pull it in with the winch, and I said underneath there's a hook for that.
Nice job, Cole. Love you getting into it. That is the most beautiful view from the front of a car. I mean, Jaguar GTO Corvette.
Dad, seriously,
Yes, sir.
don't drive that car. I don't want you stealing it.
Oh, if it's missing, it's at our house. There's no doubt. It's in our garage if it's missing. So I'm glad. Go ahead.
Well, this color is Ecurie Ecosse blue, which is was a Jaguar race team color, and Ecurie Ecosse was a team started by David Murray in approximately 1951, and he put an ad in the newspaper for people that had Jaguar XK120s that wanted to race them, and he got a lot of responses, and they had a meeting. They decided to form a race team, and one of the things they had to do was come up with a color so everybody would be the same color as a race team. And being from Scotland, this originally was referred to as Scottish flag metallic blue, and then the white stripe they used was for the white cross on the flag. And after he repeatedly won Le Mans, then they referred to this as Ecurie Ecosse blue. And a friend of mine actually did the research to make the color exact, and he went to the original manufacturers, and he went and got the original color mixing information, and he had the original manufacturer in Europe mix paint, ship it here, and then we use that to formulate the paint the car was painted with. And it was, I told him that when I wanted the paint done right, I've seen so many variations of it, I wanted this to be exactly what they ran, and that's what I did.
Unbelievable. Nice journey of that.
Yeah,
And you stayed
yeah.
with it too. You had no intention of not getting it right.
Right.
And now you have the ability to continue to get it right. When did you have it resprayed?
In 2009.
And so here's a quick metric then. How many races have you had since then?
I'm not really sure. A lot of them are test days.
Okay.
But I don't run it very often. It's too expensive to run it.
Looks amazing.
Yeah, It's a metallic, but it's a real fine metallic.
Is it metallic? Let's see if we can grab it. Yep, you can see it. Oh wow, it's
There's my favorite car.
the car just looks amazing. Incredible design. Inline 6.
I can't believe that they would have the old club car.
But they all used to be like that, and they didn't have steering wheels. They had a little lever that you would. Yeah, isn't that awesome? All right, here we are with ColeVette. He's found the car that he really likes here today. This is a vintage golf cart or race cart, if you will, not the kind you take on a track.
Maybe
but,
it's not vintage.
but one that will make his life easier walking around this place.
Does that sit on the back? Tell me how it feels.
It's a club car and it's electric. Here we go, EV. All right. Easy go. All right, Cole.